Welcome back to another episode of Unplugged, brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours. Today I got two of my brothers that decided to spend their morning with me. Welcome to the show, Keyon Dueling, and my guy, Easy Rider, J.R. Rider. Fellas, what's happening?
MB, what's up, folks? Nice to see you, man. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, no doubt.
Key, what's up, bro?
What's up, OG? How you?
Everything good. Everything good.
Good to see you, over there, boy. Got the Fountain of Youth thing going.
Yes, sir. You know it.
Stay young, stay fresh. Keyon, you've been on you've been doing some media, man. You've been doing some media a lot lately. What's been going on? I seen you on Dwight's. I seen you, I think, on the OGs. I've seen you kind of been making your way. How's that been going?
Man, you know what? I'm just trying to be like you when I grow up, man. You know, you guys are setting the tone and trailblazing. So, you know, like for me, man, it's like, okay, how do you express yourself, right? How do you, continue to make yourself relevant? How do you, share your gift, you know what I'm saying, that you have? So for me, man, it's just been awesome. Just, breaking bread with old teammates and being able to, kind of connect with the fans.
I love it. JR, we're in the midst of March Madness, but I know you're in the midst of AAU. I saw Lil Man won MVP. Was that made the made hoops or another tournament? But I seen Lil Man's been killing.
Oh man, he's been working. He's developing nicely. I see Jamal Crawford. Yeah. Both our sons are around the same. They are the same age. So yeah, it was made hoops. He got MVP. They won it again this year. So he's actually won 3 made hoops.
3 years in a row, right?
School. 3 years, 5 years in a row for Arizona. 3 years in a row for Skyrider/AZ Unity. So he's been a part of something great here in Arizona. So I'm proud of the kid and his development. And I think he's won 2 MVPs out of the 3. So
that's
things are coming together for him. Hard work, dedication, man.
That's that DNA. What you expect? I told my boys the same thing. We can give you the blueprint. It's on you guys to apply the pressure and the work to make it happen.
Hey, I love your sons. You're so respectful, good young kids, and they work hard, so they got good things coming to them. So yeah, and they want all the smoke in the big games. I was watching high school, so I've been watching them in clips and highlights. So proud of you boys, man.
They definitely don't shy away. We appreciate that. To the league, man. Last night there was a little bit of rumbling. The T-Wolves and Pistons squabbled up. Ron Hollins, 19-year-old, one of the youngest players in the league. I didn't really think, to be honest with you, it was too much of a foul. Like, it was a basic slap your arm foul, but Naz Reid took offense to it, and then Dybantsa stepped in the middle of it, and the boys got scuffling. Isaiah Stewart started drooling and grabbing and wanted to squeeze the life out of a motherfucker, but I think that was the closest thing we've seen to a real skirmish.
And who would have thought this little ass foul would have turned into a Royal Rumble match? We gotta run the playback because I don't even think Ron Holland fouled him that hard. Naz Reid must have got into it with his shorty before the game or something because he was pissed the fuck off. No bullshit, that's how my mama used to point at me before she was about to whoop my ass. Bro, where the fuck White Dante come from? Dante Dybantsa wanted all the smoke. You would have thought Ron Holland said something about that boy mama. Real talk, White Dante been waiting to fight a motherfucker since he got traded from the Knicks. We gonna flip the angle though, cause this where shit get unchy. White Dante really hit this man with the G-point mush combo. There you go, that's who I was waiting for. Isaiah Stewart, that big motherfucker that showed up to that LA Fitness runs just to fight. At this point, Dante done put down Ron Holland, now he 2-on-1. I ain't gonna cap, Pat Bev was right, don't nobody on the Timberwolves got any kind of fucking heart. And they don't call that boy Beef Stew for no reason. Y'all see Isaiah Stewart tensed up biting his lip. Bro grabbed a handful of meat. He been watching too many prison movies, he need to chill out. Shit was looking like that Friday scene with Damon and Money Mike. I can't tell if Ron Holland is hurt, angry, or embarrassed, but he is crying real tears. 5 players and both head coaches was ejected, and it was only the second quarter. And to think all this shit started with that baby ass foul. Man, I love the NBA.
What was your thoughts on that, KD?
Well, I love it. I love when it's when tempers flare a little bit. I went to the Heat game the other night, man, and it's just no contact, right? It's no like physicality. It's everybody pick and roll, shooting threes, freedom of movement. But I like when they knuckle up, squabble up a little bit. I'm glad it didn't really spill too far over into the crowd. I'm glad no punches were thrown. But just to see them have a little pulse and have a little anger, a little fire, I thought that was awesome.
JR, that's obviously your former team in the Minnesota Timberwolves. You played in the era where dudes was scrapping. Any confrontations come to mind from your career that you can recall?
Without a doubt. First with that one, I was watching it, so it was getting a little chippy in that game. and they were letting them get physical. So yeah, I agree. It was just a regular slap across the arm foul, like nothing major at all. But I think what was going on was some prior stuff, and some tempers were flaring a little prior to that. So they started grabbing jerseys, pulling up around the neck, around the ear area, and it spilled over. Bodies start coming. People start tumbling down. It was getting physical underneath. I want to see what was going on with Nas and Holland down low, because they were kind of
down low. Yeah.
So up top, I couldn't see down low, but up top, I seen they pushed Dybantsa to like the second row. It looked like, so it was on. But I'm glad they didn't throw any punches. So I had to run it back 3, 4, 5 times just to see what was going on. And something like that, usually it's somebody getting fired on. You know what I mean? Somebody will throw some punches, but I think they were mindful about ejections and suspensions and stuff like that, and got it under control. I was laughing at Rudy, long ass arm reached from out of nowhere trying to grab somebody from behind the neck. But it was on, man.
He still got PTSD from Draymond still.
Yeah, you got Stewart looking like old school Michael Cage with them damn shoulders, and Michael Cage used to have a curl. Stewart got the dread.
Hell yeah.
They got shoulders. So with all the smoke, man, you know what I mean? So I kind of like that.
Real.
He could have played in every era for sure.
Yeah, he's always into some shit.
They made him bleed his own blood. He ain't been right ever since. Like he ready.
Hey, that's when he wanted to bite LeBron's head off. That motherfucker was charging through a whole team when that happened. Do any fights during your era come to mind? Whether you were in them or you witnessed where they were throwing them?
That was something like me and Walt Williams. We snatched up Pat Garrity and somebody else, and I think it was Barry. Barry was on the ground. I need him in the head on the ground because he was talking in the paper the week before. You know what I mean? So he went down. I need him in the head. I got a UFC need him right in his temple. You know what I mean? Nah, man. We used to have real fights, and it was real grown ass men. That I know. You know, I remember playing against the Knicks where they had Mason, Oakley, Ewing, Bonner. And I'm going to the rack. I dunked on somebody, and they told me, next time you go in the rack, you're going to end up on your back. So I went right to the rack, and they knocked me down. And I just remember saying, next motherfucker foul me, it's on in this motherfucker, da-da-da-da-da. And Oakley said, shut the fuck up and shoot your motherfucking free throws. I said, God damn.
Did you?
Grown ass men with hair on their chest, so you better pick your battles. I remember putting big pins at the end of both goals because there was some grown ass men. So just throwing them, just chunking them with them. They was 6'7", 6'8", known for fighting. But nah, man. I mean, it was a few scraps in my era where they the big boys would clear shit out. You know what I mean? They would clear it out. For sure.
My question, did you shut the fuck up and shoot your free throws, or you keep talking?
Well, I mumbled some shit.
He said, well? I said I mumbled some shit. Oh, man.
But my mid-range was in full effect after that because they wasn't playing, man. They wasn't playing back in them days coming to the rack. You couldn't be scared. You still had to do your shit. But I had to let them know I had mid-range. Y'all ain't just going to beat me up. But I mumbled some shit to Oakland. Oakland was known for slapping people.
Slapping the shit out of people with them big ass cement hands.
Not only would you fight on the court, but those guys would pull up to the locker room. Those guys would remember that last encounter and check you when you saw them. And so you had to conduct yourself in a way because it was accountability to the 10th power back in them days.
No, it wasn't no sliding. They catch you at the bus.
Albert Robinson pulled up the Strickland house back in the days. I mean, I don't want to go too deep, but it was a lot of stories I would hear where dudes they pull up. They talking about pull up these days. They pull up to your house, wait on you, like let's get it in. Fuck them cameras, man.
Right. No cameras. We don't need no cameras for this smoke. I like that DiVincenzo, obviously had Nas's back, and it brings me to think some white boys making some noise these days. Reeves and Chet and DiVincenzo, and then you think of the history of the league. Obviously, Larry Legend, Danny Ainge was scrappy. My dog Steve Blake was always ready to throw him.
Ready.
Christian Laettner, Kevin McHale, Ben Laimbeer was always ready to throw him. Chris Anderson, Birdman. If you got to pick one white boy to go down the alley with you in league history and throw hands with anybody, who would it be? I'm going to start with you, KD.
I'm going to probably go with Bill Laimbeer. You know what I'm saying? Because
Okay.
Bill executed all his punches, during those times. He'll yoke you out if you go to the
He was
hole.
precise.
And he landed, right, definitely with precision. And he just didn't give a fuck at the end of the day. So Bill Laimbeer is the guy, you know what I mean? I want down that dark alley with me.
I like that. What about you, JR?
Well, Larry Bird surprised me. I looked at some old footage. He was with the shit, right? But
He was ready to throw him.
Yeah, he was ready. He was with the shit. Bill Laimbeer was a big man, so he kind of he lumbered his body around and he was ready. But for me, I think it goes to like Joker. That's gonna throw you off, right? It's gonna throw you off, right? I seen him live in a game. That's a big old dude, and when he did that to one of them twins, and they ain't never said nothing back. I don't even think he ever played in the game again after that. I'm like, well, damn. I mean, you know what I mean?
He got some muscle.
Respect to Morris twins, but I was like, man, you ain't just gonna get pushed on the ground and not do nothing to lay down, man. So it made me think like nobody want to see the Joker in this era. But you go back to the 70s, man, there was a lot of dudes. They was scrappy. I just can't think of their names, but there was a lot of white boys out with the shit. But I say Jokers.
Hey, his brothers aren't too far behind. His brothers look like they tear heads off with their own hands. Them dudes is monsters.
Holmes, the daddy, right? And he was mafia. We go to New York, we go to LA, we go to Chicago. The Russians would come out with them trench coats, big, swole, and they go party and go kick it. I'm like, oh, that's mafia. I could just look at them and see. So yeah, Joker's brothers, you can see if something too bad go on, they're gonna run on the court and they're gonna get down with their brothers. So I think that's in the back of every brother's head. They don't fuck with you.
No question. What up, y'all? This is Matt.
Your boy Stack.
From the All the Smoke podcast.
Big news. We're teaming up with the ultimate sneaker plug, StockX.
You see it. It's on our feed. Let me put you on to something real quick. If you're serious about sneakers and style, you need to be on StockX.
For the rash kicks to the latest releases, StockX gives you access to everything you need to level up your game. No more missing out, just straight up access to what's next.
Head to StockX.com or download the StockX app to level up your collection.
It's the game changer. StockX. Now you know. You ever had one of those moments when you want to elevate your night? Maybe it's a dinner with friends or a celebration that calls for something extra? That's where Grand Marnier comes in. You probably heard of it, but have you tried the signature drink? The Grand Margarita. It's the twist of a classic margarita. It has the smooth richness of Grand Marnier's cognac. And combined with orange liqueur, a bit of citrus, and just the right amount of sweetness, with a taste like that, it's perfect for any occasion. Whether you're chilling at the crib or out with friends, a Grand Marg remixes a regular cocktail into something extraordinary. Don't just settle for a good cocktail when you can have something grand. It's about making your next drink one to remember. So when you're making your next margarita, remix it and make it grand with Grand Marnier. Grand Marnier liqueur, 40% alcohol by volume, 80 proof. 2025 Campari America, New York, New York. Drink with style, drink responsibly.
Transitioning into high school hoops, the McDonald's All-American game is Tuesday. Obviously one of the biggest games, and there's a lot of local talent, kids that my nephew, Alijah Arenas, going to SC, AJ Dybantsa going to BYU, allegedly got $10 million to go. Darren Peterson going to Kansas, multi-million-dollar deal. The Boozer twins, Braden Berries, is that his name? I really like that kid. JR being a coach in the space and Keyon coming up through the AAU space. How have you liked this new influx of, I'm not only saying former pros kids, but just this new generation of these young kids are really, really different. They got a whole lot of game. They got a large bag, versatile, long, play both sides of the ball. I like this 2025 class has a lot of talent in it.
Man, listen, I think American basketball is in a good place from a talent perspective. I think the training techniques and kind of the rhythm of the way we're developing our players is still there. I think, they're eating better. They have access to strength and conditioning. They have trainers. They're social media savvy. They're media savvy. And when you have a second generation player, there's a little bit of an advantage that you have because you got to watch your parents kind of go through that situation and deal with different situations. So I'm excited to see what these guys can develop into, and I'm rooting and I'm cheering for everybody.
It's just like baseball. I was hearing Barry Bonds talk. He might have been talking to you guys, man. It's just I forget, but I've seen him recently. He was like, the players hit all the time. I mean, they're always hitting, taking BP. I mean, they're working on their skill. They're working on their craft. In comparison to basketball, same thing. They're in the gym. You have all these trainers. You have access to gym. You have access to better eating. You have access to the, generations, decades before you, watching them, watching the Jordan, the LeBrons, all these new players can watch the guys before them and add to their bag and add to their media bag and add to their brand and their business. So when it comes to training and playing, these dudes are so skilled, so good. It's just ridiculous. I look back at, me, Penny, and, we used to go at it because we came out at the same time and different guys. And I look at the actual game and we can play, we can get down. But these guys got 4, 5, 6 combos with the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
Right.
Shooting it from deep. The perimeter guys, the 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", they play like dudes 6'5", you know what I mean? 6'4". The guards and point guards 6'5", 6'7", so the game is expanded so much, and they are so good. They are so much better than us. I will give them that. The way they approach it is a little different. I think we were hard-nosed, and I think we were, to me, a lot of us that were good were just as good as any player today. But overall, in general, they're better than us. And I think the old guys got to
Skilled.
and got to realize that. Stop hating on them young boys. Them boys can get down, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can.
Super skilled. The only thing I would say some of them lack, and this is not all of them, is just the ability to play off the ball. I think all these kids are accustomed to being the man, which they are, and having the ball in their hand. But each level they go up, they have to be able to understand how to play off the ball. And I think that's where the European game thrives, and that's why you see the growth of the European game in the NBA and the influx of European players in the NBA, because these guys know how to play team basketball. We're great individually skilled, but I think we lack the IQ to understand, okay, if the ball's not in my hands, how can I still be effective on the offensive end? So hopefully, we can close that gap and continue just to be good all around players. Katie, is there someone that comes to mind in high school that surprised you or busted your ass in high school?
It wasn't a surprise, but like Baron Davis, like in high school, was off the charts. Like BD could do everything. He was kind of like one of the originals of the hybrids, not necessarily like a 1-2 combo, right? That could do everything. So like BD, just watching BD, playing against BD, he was a guy who I tried to mimic my game after, Baron Davis was that boy.
What about you, JR? You just mentioned Penny. Like anybody else come to mind during your high school run that was just like, damn, they got it?
Okay, so for me, it was the East Coast boys for me coming up, because I'm from like a era where it was AAU was serious. It was it was Riverside Gauchos, the boys from DC, the boys from Philly. So I went back home after playing against those guys in Vegas and Arizona at like Easter Classic, High School Classic. Like, man, them dudes from New York, they different, and New Jersey, they're really, really different. Mashburn, we were juniors. Mashburn was a sophomore, Jamal Mashburn, and he got MVP of Nike camp when it was invite only, and he was a junior. We were going to our senior years. He was going to our senior years. He was going to his junior year, and he was just incredible to me. So Mashburn was one of those guys for me. Jamal Mashburn was like, he's way different. Way different.
Yeah.
So to me, it was an East Coast guy from the West Coast.
There was 2 guys that I wouldn't say surprised, but when we were coming up, we didn't know who was until we played them. Like there wasn't no internet. So I remember Dion Glover, I think with the Atlanta Celtics. He was
Yes,
tough
sir.
and cold.
He was a rookie when I was in Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah, he was tough. And then we caught Tracy McGrady's coming out party. I think we were going to be
That's right.
sophomores, and it was when Tracy was. Keyon, you play on that team or no? You was
Yep,
on that
Florida
team?
Flash. Yep. I saw
Oh
T-Mac
my God, we
in
caught a
real
cool
time.
45 from T-Mac. I want to say this is the summer he put himself on the map, where he went from like unranked to the #1 player in his class.
Yes, sir.
But I
Yes,
hadn't
sir.
seen nothing like T-Mac at 6'9", his ability to do everything you saw in the NBA. Motherfucker was doing that shit in high school. So
Yeah.
T-Mac was like, whoa. Like T-Mac made me think like, okay, well maybe I might need to go play football because I don't play
Man.
nothing like this motherfucking dude right here. So
Man.
T-Mac was cold, man.
I love, okay, you know, Vince was starting. I think T-Mac was coming off the bench. So they had Doug Christie, T-Mac, and Vince. That was like my matchups who I was playing against.
Mm-hmm.
And when T-Mac came in the game, I was like, damn, he long like Scottie Pippen, crossing over like AI and jumping out the gym. You know what I mean? Also, people asked me in the summer, my personal opinion, I said T-Mac might be the best player, underrated, that's going to shine in a second. I was thinking the same thing about T-Mac. He was no joke.
And I saw Matt windmill on somebody, Matt, at Adidas camp. He literally windmilled on somebody. And all the coaches, all the NBA scouts, they lost their professionalism for a little bit. They was running out
professionalism.
Like it was the Ruckers, right? But man, my life was better because I got an opportunity to play on that Florida Flash team with Mac.
You seen it in close, but you got to think too. People don't realize T-Mac, it took him a couple years to get going. You know what I mean? To really get off the bench and really kind of establish himself. He was kind of buried somewhat in Toronto a little bit, and then finally, you know, once he finally got his chance, and he took off. Same thing with Jermaine O'Neal. Jermaine O'Neal was another high school guy that was kind of struggling his first year or two, you know, along with Kobe. And then once those guys got their chance, they never looked back. But that was a real talented time.
I look at it like this because I played with Jermaine in Portland his first 2 years. I want to say 3 before they traded him, before he got out of there, maybe 2. So he had Rasheed Wallace, Brian Grant, Arvydas Sabonis, Cliff Robinson. You know, he had a lot of people there, and he used to just be pissed, like, give me a chance. You know, there was times in practice Rasheed had to tie up them Air Force Ones a little tighter and come out of sweats. You know, and Rasheed rarely came out of sweats. When he came out of sweats, it was a problem, right? So he came out of sweats like, oh, you big head young boy, here I come, you know, and they would go at it.
He called him big head.
So Kobe and T-Mac was the same way. They had to wait a couple years, you know, Kobe behind Eddie and T-Mac behind Vince and Doug Christie, I believe. So once they got their chance, they never looked back. True.
Absolutely. Man, Mark Cuban is speaking a little bit about obviously what happened with the sale of the Mavericks, how he fully expected to still run basketball operations, said in quote, I fully expected to run basketball. The NBA wouldn't let me put it in the contract. They took it out. I thought they would stick to their word because they didn't know the first thing about running a team. Someone obviously changed their mind. You know, when this whole, and again, when we talk about this shit is definitely not a diss to Anthony Davis because he's a first bout Hall of Famer, one of the most talented power forwards we've ever seen. But on the flip side, Luka is a generational talent. And I think I was a firm believer that this decision was above Nico's head. I think Nico was the fall guy, but I definitely think it was ownership, and it was DeMont and these guys, you know, hearing rumors or maybe the way that Luka had moved and not wanting to commit that kind of money to them, especially after the whole casino shit fell through in Dallas, and then they wanted to try to move the team to Vegas, and that fell through. So I think they were in their feelings. And what's kind of really bothered me about this is DeMont continues to kind of go on his little tour talking, but continuing to badmouth Luka like Luka ever did anything to his lame ass. So what are your guys' thoughts when you hear Mark kind of come out? I mean, obviously Mark has to take some of the blame because he is the one that chose to sell the team to this group, knowing what they were about. But Mark has always been one of my favorite owners, and I was really surprised when I heard that, one, that the sale went through, and then two, that Mark was kind of pushed out of any kind of real decision making with that ball club. Keyon, start with you.
It's pretty much normal. Like if you sell a corporation or something like that, sometimes as CEO, right, you might stay on for a year to make that transition or to help, you know what I mean, just make that transition smooth for the next, you know, ownership group that's coming through. Obviously, he had the pedigree, he had the passion, he had the community, and he was able to get Luka on board, right? And Luka lost out a lot, man. Luka is missing out on that Supermax with this trade. So he really financially got hurt. Now, he'll benefit from being around LeBron, being in a bigger market, but he might not ever be able to make up that kind of super max money. So I think Luka loses. I don't like what they're doing in Dallas. I think they need more people around who understand the game. They got to make sure they assemble the right team, and they got to like capture the essence of what Cuban created there. Like he put Dallas on the map. Like he was on the sideline. He was on the bench. He would pick you up when you would come for a draft workout. And so to have somebody who was that involved and that passionate, and then have somebody come in who's like really a bottom line type person and doesn't necessarily understand the culture of the basketball culture, I think, they're going to have a difficult time, retaining talent, getting people to come in if they don't get the right pieces.
I mean, I think they have a win now situation. Obviously, they caught the injury bug, but Dallas has a very talented team as we speak right now. Obviously, AD went down and he's back now, but Kyrie's down for the season. But they have a nice roster. But, we all know as long as we spend the league, winning starts at the top. And I don't give a fuck how good your roster is if your ownership ain't shit. And they've been showing that they ain't shit. And the basketball guys have not favored any decisions they've made of late. So that'll be interesting. JR, what's your take on this?
It's a trickle down effect. You're right. It starts from the top. I'll go right into a personal thing. Like even with Portland, when I was there, we went to the Western Conference Finals. We were the youngest team in the NBA. I think I was the vet at like 26, 27, 28. And they traded away. They traded. Right? They brought in Pippen. They brought in Steve Smith. They got rid of me. They felt like they wanted a vet there. And they got to the same spot we got, Western Conference Finals. They got put up by LA. We got put up by San Antonio. And I just felt like we had a young nucleus. You should have let us rock and should have let us grow for 2-3 years and then figure, we would have figured it out, because San Antonio they were beating us. We were beating San Antonio, LA. It was like us, the Lakers, and San Antonio. We would all beat each other. It was very competitive. We could all beat each other, so you never know what was going to happen. Sticking to the point as far as with the Mavs, same thing. You got Luka, who's a generational talent. So when that happened, I didn't think it was real. But then it was official. They traded him. And not to be funny, but I've never seen the NBA trade away a super mega white star in that capacity. And he's a generational talent. They try to keep,
Facts.
I ain't trying to sound funny. I'm from California, all flavors of my life, white, Mexican, black, Filipino, all of that. I have best friends that are all flavors. But in the NBA, it's predominantly black. So when you get a great white player, they're going to treat him great. They're going to make sure he's in good, standings with the media. They're going to propel him. So someone like Luka, who's never been in trouble, who's never had any problems outside the game, like, what are they doing? That guy going to give you 30, 35, 40 a night. You know what I mean? Like, what are they doing? And him and Kyrie rocking. So I didn't understand it. Then I started hearing the rumors, the casinos, the promises, and the fallout. So this is all business. This is all people at the top ruining what Mark built, because he was a player's owner. He was an owner that loved players. Players loved to play for him. He changed the whole thought process of the Mavs. He got them all new stuff from the locker room to the stadium. So his energy was great, and he was hyped. He clapped. He was involved on the sideline. So I just never understood what was going on. Then I started to read into it, and he's 27% owner, 25% owner still, and usually
still,
like you were saying previously, usually they transfer over new ownership, have someone run it. This is how it goes. And then once they're comfortable, they let him go, and they still put him on their payroll and he's still minority order. So it seems like you would want him to teach the next people coming in, or keep him for a minute and teach the next people coming in how this goes. But to break up the team because of personal things and get rid of the generational talent in Luka, that set them back to me, although they are a really good team right now. But Kyrie went down, so sometimes that energy and that karma will get right back at you.
It seems like they dismantled, 20 plus years of what Cuban was able to do and build. being able to get a championship, but kind of set a foundation and make Dallas a destination for free agents and him being known as one of the best owners. It kind of reminds me of, I played for the Lakers in the last year Phil Jackson was there, and I remember Phil and Jim Buss didn't get along at all, and this is when the team had went to Jim Buss, and I tell you, the next year we came back, Jim wiped any resemblance of Phil Jackson out of the locker room, the practice facility, just anything that resembled Phil was gone. And it was just like he was trying to set his own tone, and that definitely didn't work. But this also comes on the heels of, the Celtics being sold for a record $6.1 billion, and their owner, Wick Grossbeck, will remain CEO and govern through the 2028 season.
Yeah.
Could have been a similar situation, but not, because, Dumont, this Dallas ownership wanted to take control right off the bat, not knowing shit about the game. But I think this transition we're seeing in Boston is how it should be done. And in the same way KD just spoke, normally they keep you on for a couple years and you show them the way, the lay of the land and the ropes. And then as soon as they get, you make a decision after that. So, hopefully, for the players' sake, Dallas can get back on track. This sale for Boston, I don't think Boston will skip a beat because everything kind of staying in place. So we shall see.
Bro, it's been a long day of work, man. I'm ready to get baked.
You ain't never lied.
No. I mean toasted,
Yes, sir.
gooey, melted. It's gonna be nice.
Wait a minute, bro. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Jimmy John's, bro. After years of perfecting the cold sandwich, Jimmy John's is turning up the heat on their sandwich game.
Jimmy John's toasted sandwiches are finally here. Try one of their 3 new toasted sandwiches with, like, my favorite, the chicken bacon ranch, roast beef and cheddar, or the ultimate Italian.
Or why not try one of your Jimmy John's favorites, toasted?
Each sandwich is the perfect combination of crunchy and melty. They're here and they're hot.
Order online at jimmyjohns.com, the Jimmy John's app, or stop by your local Jimmy John's for a perfectly toasted sandwich. Satisfy your toast buds.
Tip off March basketball with Captain Morgan and DraftKings. Play free and take your shot at a share of $50,000 this March.
Head over to DraftKings.com/Captain Morgan to participate in the 5 free-to-play pools during college basketball's biggest tournament.
The contest starts March 16th and it'll go through March 28th. So enter now to get in on all the action.
Eligibility restrictions apply. Must be 21 plus to enter. Void where prohibited.
See DraftKings.com/Captain Morgan for details. Please drink responsibly. College hoops, the men. Final Four set. First of all, I want to shout out our Lady Bruins going to the Final Four for the first time in the history.
Right.
I was impressed with the game yesterday, man. Lauren Betts got 2 early fouls, 2 fouls in the first quarter, and the team went on like a 12-2 run. This is an LSU team that beat us in the Sweet 16 last year, and it really showed and surprised me because I haven't seen UCLA really work without Lauren Betts on the court. She's normally a fixture and their go-to player, but they handled themselves. Kiki Rice, Jaquez, and Mia Gardner was shooting the shit out the ball and really, allowed, this team to get going without Betts, which to me fares well because that, she's going to be on the court for most of the time now, but it allowed the other people to kind of get their flow. So I'm really excited about that. Unfortunately, we all saw JuJu go down with the torn ACL last week against Mississippi State. 9 months, possibly a recovery. Although, medicine is a lot quicker these days. We could see her back, but, obviously her talent, I think everyone was looking forward to UCLA and, not overlooking UConn, but we were looking forward to UCLA and USC matching up in the Final Four. But, I want to send prayers to her and on a speedy recovery. I know she'll come back mentally and physically stronger than she's ever been. KD, with a player of JuJu's magnitude and to go down in the tournament, obviously we know her physical attributes will eventually come back, but how tough is that mentally to go down on this stage at this time of her career?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get injured, man, there's a mental lapse that you have, right? Because you have to, get your mind right for the physical therapy part. You have to be patient with your body. And she's so talented and so much better than damn near everybody she's going to play against. It's a frustrating recovery process. But I think one of the things I like about her, though, she just doesn't rely on her athleticism. She's extremely skilled. She plays with power. She has a lot of agility. She has a high basketball IQ. She has unlimited confidence. She can shoot the ball. She can get to the cup. She can do everything. So I think at some point she'll be back to herself, but it's a long road to recovery. Long road.
Mm-hmm. JR, did you ever face any major injuries in the league, or were you lucky?
I was lucky. Yeah, I mean, hips, knees, ankles, nothing. I broke a finger or two, but even to this minute, I'm mobile. I can move laterally when I train the kids, and obviously I'm an AAU 15, 16, 17, EYBL, all that. So they test me, they play me in 1s to 5, and I ain't been beat yet. You know what I mean?
Well, can you still put
no, I ain't doing none of that. But that footwork's still there, and that shot's still there, right? Yeah. But no, with JuJu, that really, really hurt to see, right? That really, really, really hurt me to see her go down because she was in a rhythm, right? And she's young, and so I've never been hurt. I've never even sprained an ankle as far as my lower extremities. So I don't know what that feels like to go to rehab and to go through an injury. I've seen it, of course, on my team, but nowadays, like I say, medicine technology is super advanced. And 9 months is a long time, for her to have to come back. So hopefully it's more like 6. But I felt bad for her because I've met her before, and she's a good young lady. She works hard. And like Katie was saying, like, she's super skilled, super good. She's different. She's a generational talent as well to me.
Yeah,
no question.
On a woman's side. And her IQ is really there. Yeah. And she's starting to play better off the ball, which you mentioned, Matt, about some of this generation. They don't play as well off the ball. So I've been watching her off the ball play and moving without it and stuff like that. So, just really, really hurt to see, her go down and kind of know that she was hurt. She was injured, so it's just really, really tough. But I've been lucky. I didn't have to go through those things.
Yeah, I think one thing that, again, medicine is different now. ACLs used to be a real scare. Now they're very common. So we know she'll come back healthy. And I read something where Paige I don't know if Paige reached out, Beckers had reached out and they had spoke, because we know Paige tore her ACL and had to miss a whole year. And now she's back averaging over 20 a game, and Paige will most likely be the number 1 pick in the W this year. So it's good she's got some people to lean on, because I feel like the hardest thing, it's never really the grind of physically getting yourself back is tough, but it's that mental monster that people don't really talk about. And once you're physically healthy, how do you mentally trust that knee and being able to move without, hesitation. So, sending a lot of love and prayers out to JuJu. Get well soon, and we'll definitely be missing you. But the women bracket as a whole, it has been tough. But I also want to shout the men's side out. I think the men's side has been slacking the past few years. But I do have to say, this tournament, as far as viewership, has been crazy on the men's side, and the competition has been very good. Obviously there's a lot of complaining about the portal and the NIL and all this other shit, but I think at the end of the day, man, the quality of play has really stepped up on both sides. And you remember, March used to be the funnest time for basketball fans, because it was high level on men's side and very high level on the women's side. And I definitely think that, we're back there. We're back there on both sides. Both sides are playing really well, and it's just been fun I've really been kicked up, burning, and just watching games all day, man. And I love it. Very, very competitive games, and you're finding a lot of talent, man. So, okay, so we got Duke versus Houston and Florida versus Auburn. The second time in a long time since all 4 number 1 seeds have advanced. There's no Cinderella. It's all big dogs this year. JR, before we get to the championship, who do you got coming out and representing in the championship?
Florida and Auburn. That's a rematch from earlier this year. Obviously, Florida got them. Florida's going to be tough to beat right now, but I just think the big from Auburn is going to slow the game down, go at their pace, and I got Auburn coming out of that in the revenge game, beating Florida. I got Houston over Duke.
Ooh,
grown-ass men out there, D'ing up. They're going to make it difficult for Duke. Duke is playing really, really good right now, but I think Houston and the coach never won one, been coaching for 30-plus years. I think it's his time, his energy, his karma to go ahead and get to that final game, the championship game, where anything can happen. But I think they get past Cooper, Flagg, and Duke. So I got Houston and I got Auburn.
Oh, I'm not mad at that. The one thing I will say is, there's a lot of this talk about high school kids can't do this, high school kids can't do that. Duke has 3 freshmen, if I'm not mistaken, in the mix, and they're integral parts of this team. So I don't believe this high school kids can't help you. I think it's bullshit. KD, who you got coming out at the Final Four?
Yeah, so my picks are a little bit different from the OG. In the Houston and Duke matchup, I like that matchup. Styles make fights. I think the way that Houston and the coach Calvin Sampson coach team, the way that they play and the toughness and the ferocity that they play with and the defensive intensity, they're a tough style. But I just think Duke has about 6 pros on that team. And I think from a talent standpoint, they're just too talented. They're too connected. Coach Shire has done a great job of just, getting the most out of those guys. And I always go with talent in situations like this. I think Cooper Flagg is by far the most talented player in college basketball. So I'm going to go with Duke there. I'm a Florida boy, even though Billy Donovan didn't recruit me down there. I like what Walter, what's his name? Walter Clayton Jr. And the performance he's been having during the tournament has been magnificent.
Oh, yeah.
He's a combo guard who can get to the cup, who can shoot the three. But guys like that, what's unique about them is that he's not afraid of the moment. Like all the big possessions, like he wanted the ball, he made the play, whether it was, making the threes, making the right passes, doing the little things. And so I'm going to go with Florida. I think they beat Auburn twice this year. I could be wrong about that, but I think for sure it was 2 times that they beat them. They're familiar with one another. And I love what Bruce Pearl is doing down there. They got a nice squad down there in Auburn, but I'm going to go with Florida and Duke in the finals.
So, JR, who do you have winning the national championship, JR?
I'm going with a shocker. I'm going with the underdog. I'm going with Houston. I'm pulling for Houston. Yeah, I'm pulling for Houston. Something about them, and they feisty. I understand. And Duke's playing the best basketball right now in college. So I agree with you, JD. I mean, they are playing the best basketball right now. But I'm going with Houston. And on the sleeper with the women's, UCLA might go get one, man, because that big girl inside is no joke. And if you come double them, she got 3 shooters that can bang them out. And then they got a playmaker, 2 playmakers that get their names, 2 girls that can get to the rack and make plays. And it's proven, man, you cannot guard her one-on-one. So they might sleep somebody up there. And, shout out to Paige getting 40-plus coming off the knee injury. I'm glad she's there for JuJu right now. But I'm proud of her, watching her, move and shake after the crushing knee injuries. But yeah, I think UCLA might sleep them and win one this year. I really do.
Houston and UCLA. Okay, Katie, who you got? Men's side, then women's side.
Yep. So on the men's side, I'm gonna go with Duke. I think John Shire will be cutting the nets down this year. On the women's side, I'm gonna go with South Carolina. Coach Don Staley down in South Carolina. I just think that they have McDonald's All-Americans. They've been there before. I think she's pretty much one of the top 2, maybe 3 coaches, maybe in the history of women's basketball. I think she's that good. She's got charisma. She's got spirit. She's got energy. She's just Don Staley, right? We grew up watching her. So I like South Carolina and I like Duke. No shade, Matt. No shade, Matt.
No, it ain't no shade. Take it because we could definitely bet. So I got Duke and obviously this UConn matchup is going to be tough, but I'm going to believe in our women and I think they'll see South Carolina in the championship. So I'm taking all fades. Whoever wants them, let me know.
Yeah.
Real quick before we get out of this college segment, Cooper Flagg projected #1 pick in the draft this year on the NBA side. On the men's side, do you guys compare him to any recent picks or anyone that you can think of in the past as far as a comp to his versatility and his intensity and what he brings to the game?
To me, he's more like a hybrid between the skill set of like a Jason Tatum and then the motor and the quick second jumps like Sean Marion, right? He's got like this energy and his skill set that you just really don't see. A lot of times talented skilled players don't have that motor, don't have that passion. They can't impact the game, on the defensive side, on the rebounding side, on the shot blocking side, on the antic side, all those different things. And so I think he's like a hybrid of those 2 particular all-stars.
I'm not mad at that. What about you, Jay?
Cooper Flagg, I've seen him in person about 4 times. I like him a lot. First time I seen him, I like what I saw. The 4th time I seen him, I was like, wow, he got a couple little levels that he goes to when the smoke is on and the game is on. So I like him a lot. He's a generational talent for sure. At first I was thinking he would be a situational player coming in. Like it has to be the right situation, has to be the right team, has to be the right fit. But the more that he keeps going, I'm like, well, wherever he goes, he's gonna make a difference. He's gonna make a splash. And he's a big boy. He's a big kid, you know. So, and he's developed his range. He's developed his range. He's stepping out there shooting that thing a little bit more. So I think the sky's the limit for him. And that's another guy who's super athletic, got motor, and he plays without the ball, gentlemen. He can play without the ball. So I think he'll make a very, very good pro for sure. Him and
AJ and Cooper, my favorite two thing about as talented, they have a fucking motor. And the motor used to be non-negotiable in our days. Now having a motor is a skill set, which is crazy. But both those stars have motors. They both lock in on both sides. We saw Cooper take his hard knocks this year, making mistakes and turning the ball over in crunch time. But I think all that helped him continue to develop and understand shit. This is what it takes. They're going to win or lose with me. So I definitely am a big fan of Cooper. And then AJ coming down the pipeline. He'll probably spend a year at BYU. He's someone who's 6'9". I got to see it play a lot at Peach Jam last year, locks in on both ends and has all those same intangibles that Cooper has as far as energy and athleticism, hustle, dunks, plays defense, mid-range, get to the basket, shoot the ball, not afraid of the moment. So these next two number one picks coming down the pipeline are going to be really special. This next segment is sponsored by StockX. JR, you had your own signature shoe from Converse in 1994, the Sky Rider. What was the backstory landing that Converse situation? And what was it like, a boy from Oakland, man, had his own shoe.
Come on, man. Talk to me. So the backstory with that one is, okay, so I won the college dunk contest. So I went between the legs. So I had Orange Helen was my agent before he had Kobe, T-Mac, and Jermaine O'Neal, and many, many, many others. All he had was me, Reggie Miller, and Don McClain from UCLA. So we were the only guys he had. So he was building. He had a lot of baseball. So with that being said, he was new to the basketball scene as far as kind of athlete like me, someone exciting, someone jumping in the air, someone with flair and excitement. So I was telling him I'm going to win the dunk contest in NBA as well. Market that, figure it out, see if I can get a shoe deal with Nike. So he went to Nike, and Nike at the time, they were high on Penny, rightfully so, and Chris Webber, rightfully so. So they got all the Nike money. And in my day, they were only paying two players a year. I don't know how they do it now. It seems like it's similar. But they're paying two guys, and everyone else, you can get a deal, but you're not getting the multi-lucrative deal, multi-million-dollar deal like the top two players that they pick. So with that being said, that's why I went to Converse, because Converse, they wound up giving me multi-millions and put me as the face of Converse along with Grandmama Larry Johnson and Kevin Johnson. Kevin was kind of a quiet guy, but he had a really good shoe that was doing well. Grandmama blew up, and then here I come winning the dunk contest, and they came with the Sky Rider. So it was an amazing time in my life. I didn't know that, I named the shoe. They didn't, we were going back and forth with names, so I got to name my shoe, and it was good, man. It was cool, man. It was great for me, my family. Great look for me, making all rookie, win the dunk contest, and having my own shoe. I averaged about 16 or so. Penny averaged 15. Webb averaged 17. As a starter, I averaged 20 because I didn't start my first 15 games because I was holding out, won my option a little sooner than they gave it to me. But I was really, really excited, man. It was a big time coming from where I'm coming from, and had a shoe, my whole community, giving it to all the kids in my projects, all the kids that I knew. They taking it to Brown Brothers or many different shoe outlets out there trying to get their size, try to trade them in. Some of them kept them. They show me to this day. They still have them, at their house, or, now that they're older kids, they show them, and they always show me appreciation and love. So big time. It was big time, man. That's the backstory, though, why I went with Commons. Kind of probably how Grant Hill and Mashburn went with Fila. You got to go with whoever, as a business, you got to go with whoever giving you the dough. It doesn't matter, who it
love
is.
Who love you.
You got to love
believe in who believe in you. Exactly.
No talk.
Before we get out of here, JR, also excited, maybe a little premature, but we're working on some stuff with you, man. Doc or some scripted series. I mean, I think your journey has been incredible. And I told you since we reconnected like 5 years ago, like, bro, we got to get your story on the big screen. So that is in the works. I'm excited to be a part of that, bro.
That's awesome.
That is awesome, man.
Yes,
I tell everybody, man, that, Matt is my dog. He's a solid dude. He's been solid since day one. he's been wanting to see this story out there since we chopped it up, burned a few, and he learned of some of the details and the backstory of some of that stuff. So I'm so appreciative of you. You're such a good man, a good dude, and thanks for the opportunity. And I know there ain't no story out there like this one once they get to it, from the beginning to the middle to the end, the redemption, as well as some gangster shit that jumped off. It's a lot of shit,
Hey,
California gangster
some
shit.
real gangster shit. Ooh, some real gangster shit. Ooh, yeah, I'm excited to help you bring this story to life. But thank both you guys for hanging out today, man, and I'll see you guys soon. Before we get out of here, I want to thank a special fan. Shout out Alex Peavy from Richmond, Virginia. Alex took time to reach out to our page after getting through 2 terminal cancer diagnoses since 2017. It's been an up and down journey for him and his family. Obviously, cancer is near and dear to my heart, losing my mom in 2008. So I know how devastating this is, man. And he just wanted to reach out and thank us for being something that helps him get through his days. And as someone who, again, has cancer near and dear to my heart, but just knowing that we do make a difference in people's lives, man, we want to send you a lot of love, Alex, to you and your family. And we'll be praying for you. And when you beat this shit, come out to LA and hang out with us for a day, man. Also, Alex, make sure you send us your family's size and address so we can send you guys some All the Smoke merch. Well, that's a wrap. You can catch us on All the Smoke Productions YouTube and the DraftKings Network. See y'all next week. Tommy John's have changed the game. Their underwear are the most comfortable I've ever worn. They're silky soft, breathable, and lightweight. If you don't believe me, check the waistband. Ever since Tommy John has been sending me products, it's all I've been wearing. They're the true MVP in the underwear game. What are some of the problems that other underwear brands give you that Tommy John doesn't? These things let my balls breathe. And that's the most important thing. They hold them nice and tight, but they can also breathe. So get you some. Double down with comfort on Tommy John and get 25% off your first order right now at TommyJohn.com/smoke with the promo code SMOKE. Save 25% at TommyJohn.com/smoke. I'll see you there. This episode is brought to you by Boost Mobile.
Boost Mobile is now a legit nationwide 5G network. I know we stay joking, but let me take a second to put on my serious voice, because this isn't a joking matter. Me personally, I would never joke about a 5G network that has invested billions in building 5G towers across the country.
Me neither.
Not even once.
Me neither.
Feel me?
Boost Mobile is now a legit nationwide 5G network and also provides coverage across 99% of America. Seriously. Visit boostmobile.com or your nearest Boost Mobile store for more information.
The Boost Mobile network, together with our roaming partners, covers 99% of the U.S. population. 5G speeds not available in all areas.